dear viewers, how are you doing today? Yes, it's another Friday with Ascent Debt Recovery, and like you know me, my name, your favorite host, Oluwatayo Yanoluwalajumoke is my name. And yes, we started the topic bad debt, the major causes of bad debt last week, and yes, today we would round it up, and next week is going to be an interactive section on bad debt. I'm going to have a couple of friends here. I'm going to, talk more. So if you have any questions you want to ask, please jot it down against next week. So to our viewers that couldn't join us last week, yes, I'm going to repeat the topic again: major causes of a bad debt. And part of what I mentioned last week, I said causes. We have countless number of causes that can lead to people into debt, and the debt can become bad. And the first causes I mentioned, loss of job, and also I mentioned to those people that have businesses and unfilled businesses, or probably the cost of starting a new business. They decided to go into loan and borrow money, and they are still trying to pay back loan. They are still trying to get money to keep running the business. And if care is not taken, they can end up, getting to a bankrupt. And also, I talked about for those that have low income or they are underemployed. And in that area, I mentioned that low income, maybe the money they are earning is not really much, and they have a lot of expenses to cater for, and that leads us to increase in the cost of living. With the way the economy is, inflation on the high side, and the way the cost of goods and materials is in the market, even if you are earning some certain amount of money, you still need to be careful. If not, you will end up going to borrow, and when you keep borrowing and borrowing, it keep on accumulating, and if care is not taken, it's going to end up becoming a bad debt. And also, we talked about those that are into overspending habits. They don't know how to control their spending habits, and lack of emergency funds. They don't have savings. So today we are just going to also talk about the other few causes. Of course, there are a lot more, but because of our time, I'm going to give us a few causes again, and then we're going to end this topic here while we continue with our discussion some other time. So the first point I'll be giving you today, there's also a major cause that leads to a bad debt, like that leads to bad debt being bad, is lack of proper money management. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're not careful, your debt will come upon you. So in essence, for you not to fall into that victim, you need to make sure you pay your debt. And for some people that they don't really know how to monitor their expenditures, the money that comes in, the money that goes out. So to all our viewers out there, I'm going to drop a little advice. Please and please take your time to check through your bank statement, compare and look into how you spent your income previous month and the current month you have, and see which one you had more and see which one you had less, so that you can be able to know and be sure on how you're spending. But for those people that lack proper money management, they just, as the money comes in, bam, they spend it, bam, without not even considering some other factors. And at the end of the day, before they know it, they are broke. They don't have anything again, and they start looking for, okay, who will borrow me money, who will borrow me, who will assist me, who will give me. And if care is not taken, they get carried away paying one loan to another, and from there it's keep accumulating, and it leads to a problem. So please and please, my dear viewers, take your time to run a check on your expenditures, your income, the way you spend your money. It's very important. So another point is unexpected expenses. Yes, this is also another causes. And how does that affect? there are some expenses that comes into our life that we practically don't plan. It just happened. Maybe now, let's say ASU call off strike, for the parents, it's going to be like, my children is going to school, and the way things are really expensive in the market, they're definitely going to spend more. And also to people that maybe they've actually used their money to do some personal things, and at the end of the day something just happened in their home and it warrant them to pay, it also affects. So in such cases, most people might lead to, okay, let me just borrow this money somewhere and then later on I would pay back. And circumstances can come up that they will not be able to pay back, and from there it leads to a debt, which most times, in most cases, out of carelessness, leads to, it becomes bad basically, because they are trying to balance the equation of their daily routine, at the same time trying to clear off debt. And another point is medical bills. Yes, and medical bills, this is even one of a major cause. And health, they say health is wealth, and if for so many people out there that are having one or two health conditions, they practically didn't plan it. It's just happened. And in such cases, there's nothing they can do about it. And for them to have a good life, for them to be able to work, for them to do the needful, they don't have any other choice than to, look for every means to keep their health balanced. And maybe their income is not even up to what can sustain their medical bills. They don't have any other option. And most of them, go into loans to just sort themselves and keep themselves alive. And through that, they are servicing loan, their health is still there, they are still managing, and the rest like that. It can really, 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 really be pressurizing on such individual. So to everyone out there facing one or two health challenges and you're in debt, I really want to encourage you, please and please reach out to people, talk to people. Don't just say, because I have a problem, I'm not going to talk, or else you know what that complication is going to be. So to avoid getting embarrassed over borrowing money or being in huge sum of money for a debt, speak to charity groups that can help you, that also work in line with your medical condition. I'm very sure that there will be a lot of people out there to help. And another point I have with me is institution and on the study debt. Yes, it's not really one of these strong causes, but to some people they ended up in debt because maybe they had some educational courses to sort and they didn't have any other choice. They decided to look for funds, and while looking for funds, maybe the time factor they gave to pay, they couldn't meet up. In such cases, it's landed them into a bigger trouble. So if you are processing any educational learning, please, it's better you work and have something before you go into, so that even when you are actually getting this extra cash, your mind is still at rest, that okay, you are not having a huge sum of debts. It's so much money to claim. And lastly, this is another factor, but I wouldn't say it's not a strong one, like not a big one, but it's also a factor to some set of people, and I'll call it relationship breakdown or separation or divorce. In a setting whereby couples, their allowances, it's already known, okay, the husband and the wife, they come together to support the family, and there's children, and all of a sudden this part is separate. Such cases is actually really going to affect both parties. Reason because one party will be trying to fund maybe accommodation, feeding, sustainability. At the same time, one party is still trying to sort those things and also trying to do the needful for the children if they already have children. Cases where courts tell them, okay, you really need to have a specified amount you need to drop every month, and you still have this lot of bills to pay. It's really affects the welfare, the well-being of each individual. And in such cases, one party might ended up in debt because probably maybe in the midst of trying to look for funds. He or she might decide, okay, let me start selling my properties from there. It keeps going, and at the end of the day, they find themselves into a bigger debt, which they would have like, okay, I need to try and manage, I need to try and do this, I need to try and do that. So, our dear viewers, I believe that you've been able to get 1 or 2 points from our sessions so far, and I'm just going to say that on a final note, to those of you out there, I know it's not easy, to pay debts. Like, it's not easy from one debt to another, trying to manage and trying to do other needs. But I would advise you, if you're going through these situations, going under this pressure, please and please walk up to someone who understand, and a better understanding in debt management, that can help you. Talk to a financial analyst that can